What's up, VIP members? We got a good one today. We're going to transfer over an old plan. We're going to bring it into a new plan's templates. And I'm addressing VIP members because that's what I'm always going to do at the beginning of these videos. Because VIP, you guys got to this video several months before the general public. So if you are the general public and you want to get some of this stuff as it comes out, the newest and latest and greatest information, it's a very inexpensive subscription to subscribe to VIP and be a part of the newest content, vote on the content that you'd like to have, and also get catered responses. Videos that I don't share to the general public are going to be in that VIP section. So you're not even getting all of the videos that I would typically share. You may just get one or two or three, as I think that they are worth sharing to the general public. But there's a bunch more content in the VIP section that will never see the light of day outside of VIP. So come join us, and you can retroactively go through all this stuff. So you can take a look back at some of that video. And it's month-to-month basis, or you can do it a yearly subscription. So on a month-to-month, you can come take a look at all the old content. You'll love it, and then hang out for a month and decide if you want to do the next month. So it's a pretty cool setup. Anyways, I'm always going to say that at the beginning of these videos. Thank you, VIP, for sticking through this part of the video. Let's get to it. Now, I want to transfer something to a brand new plan template. And guess what? It's 8/21/2023, and I did a silent update on the Pro plan. There's a bunch of cool things happening in the Pro plan. I'm creating new systems, and as I'm doing them, I am updating. And so there was a silent update today, and it had a lot of cool little fixes. We're getting into the macro-based detail creation and making it a lot easier for you, the user, to build your own details using that switching system. So that's really cool. So I've got two plans here. I've got the new plan, my new plan template, and then I've got an old plan that I want to bring forward. And so how do we do this? Well, first of all, let's go ahead in our Windows. If we're in Windows, Alt W, and then we should be able to hit our V key, tile these vertically. I want to bring this into this, and there's a few steps we have to go through to do this. Now, something I want you to keep in mind is anything that you have set as default in your old plan, this one right there, versus default in the new plan over there. What happens is when we transfer, all those defaults are going to, everything that's set to default is going to adapt to the new defaults in the new plan. So what does that mean? Maybe you had some cabinet style that you had set up in the old plan. Well, it's going to get screwed up if it was set to default because it's going to follow the defaults of the new plan. And there is a method around that, which is you're going to create a style palette. And I think everybody should know how to do a style palette. It's in the help documentation. I'm not even going to go over it. So what I would tell you to do is make a style palette. And within style palettes, we can grab window types, we can grab door types, we can grab room finishes, room heights, room structure, you name it. You can grab your base cabinet, wall cabinet, full height cabinet, all that stuff, and then simply spray it into new plan on a plan painter mode, which means it's spraying the entire plan. So I won't even get into that. That's well documented. Should be able to do that on your own. So the next thing is I kind of want to get into an edit area and just paste it over. That should be simple, right? Well, we're missing a couple steps. Let's get into our template plan, and we need to do a few things to set up for this existing plan. Now, the existing plan already has a roof, already has a foundation, it already has terrain. What does that mean? I have to get rid of those in the template plan. So I'm going to bring into my working plan view roofs only, and I can just select all these and delete. And it's going to ask me, do I want to turn off automatic roofs? Yeah, I do. All right, now we can get into our foundation plan, kind of same thing. And we can come in here and wipe this all out. In fact, you could have just gone into our delete dialog in the edit menu, right? And then last bit was working terrain view. So what happens if we wanted to just delete that all in the beginning? Let's close this view down and see if we can't do that, right? Don't save, blah, 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 control new, and we'll do that Alt WV again, and we're tiled up. So now that this is the active window, can we get into edit and then delete? Delete objects, here we go. So from here, we can delete roof planes. That's gonna auto turn off roofs. And we delete foundations here? Presses, schedules, walls, foundation walls. There we go. Auto turn off foundations. And then we want to get rid of terrain. See if we actually have access to. Do not think that we do. Terrain objects. That's about all I see. Landstormers. Someone knows that we can get rid of terrain, let me know. But that should be maybe a quicker, easier way. Who knows? Not sure. Up to you. Working terrain view. I want to get rid of this terrain. Okay. Bam. So from here, what do we get to do? Now we get to, well, I have to get rid of these walls too. Now on this side, I want to get rid of a few things here. One is I want to get rid of all the old cameras, the old elevation cameras. So I'm going to bring up my project browser, get into that old plan, and I want to get into the cross sections, and I can select them all and just takes a while to select them all. Delete all. Boom. And I even want to get into these regular cameras and get rid of them. I got better cameras now. If it lets me. It wants to preview that camera is what it's doing. Taking a minute. Oh. 1 and 2. Last one. Thing had a bunch of red line cameras in. Even when you delete the red line cameras, the red line notes still remain if you had, if you were. Okay, so that's all gone. And I think I want to come into the new plan. Old plan actually had construction lines. I want to get into the new plan, working plan view, construction lines. I'm going to switch to intersected mode. That's easy to select all these and delete. There we go. Cool. I think that's it. So on the old plan, I want to turn off the drawing sheet. That makes it a little bit easier. I see one stray construction line. And let's get into our edit area, all floors. And we're going to draw a marquee over this. Hopefully, I copy, go paste. Hopefully, you drew this in the same area, that 0, 0 to center. Paste, hold. Hopefully I did. Heck. All right. Default ceiling elevation of the new room is different from the default ceiling elevation of the old room. That's important. That's very important. So we're going to fix that now. Okay. Now that this is pasted, there's a few things in here that I don't care to see in the working plan view construction lines. Let's switch to working plan view regular. Okay, so some things went away. So one thing to note, this is terrain. That's terrain. Isn't that goofy? So the terrain did not get copied over. I swear in the past that it did, but for some reason it's not here. Okay, this is just a polyline. So now we have to convert it. Convert it to terrain parameter. Bam. Now I happen to know what this was set to. And so I'm going to go ahead and punch this in. It was set to 5. And there we go. It's created a lot of additional stuff here. So I think that's going to be correct. Second here. In that working terrain view, we have a bunch of overlapping coverage macros. Now, the only one in this case that I care about retaining is the lot perimeter, the lot size, okay? So the lot size that's the old versus the lot size that's the new, the lot size old didn't have with it a FAR calculation. So I'm going to go ahead and move this lot size new just outside of the bounds of the lot size old. Let's turn off the drawing sheet so you can see this. And then I'll select the new and union it to old. Need to simplify this section by the polyline. Rid of that break. There we go. Now when I open this up, and keep in mind this update that came out today, we put a bunch of prefixes in here to organize this custom field section. I know I'm going to go to the job info section here and find out that the FAR calculation is in place. So that's what I needed to know, was that that FAR calculation still works. Now I can get rid of these other items, right? Because we've got some redundant macros happening. These other macros should be working correctly. If they're not, we can always open up a new plan, bring in some of that stuff. So one way to check it, come into our CAD details, project macro information, and let's make sure all these schedules are working. So FAR calc looks to be working, and you just got to double check these numbers, triple check these numbers. You need to change this information. This isn't correct. So a couple of things to fix. So if you happen to be using an old version of my plan template, you could go into this CAD detail and copy this information, but it's probably easier just to re-input it. Okay. So back into this section, this is looking pretty good. It looks correct because I've got a retaining wall here. That all makes sense. Now let's just get in the working plan view. It's kind of where I like to be. This was an old setup. Don't need it anymore. I know that. Take a look downstairs, upstairs. All right. Pretty good so far. So, oops, I just hit paste there on the existing. Dang it. Didn't want to do that. Gonna take. Make sure to escape out when you're in edit area in copy paste mode, or you're gonna end up doing what I just did. You can still just delete on the fly and then make sure you're in the selected objects. So the next thing I want to do is get into get into my floor defaults, get into that first floor default. Let's do a little screen clipping here. This is just an easy way of doing this. Come back, press OK, press done, come back over here, paste it as a picture, and set this. Go ahead and I'll just go ahead and set this floor while we've got it here. First floor defaults. Looks like it's got a slab structure, which I know is going to be different here. So I'm going to triple click into there, get into plan materials, select concrete. There you go. Set this to 4 inches, delete that subfloor, and I have now conformed this. Let's see what else we got. Looks like 90.75 here. Outlines up, -24. Got all the rest of these numbers line up. Great, done. Get rid of the screenshot. Get back over to the old plan. Let's get to floor number 2. Make sure that it's the same setup. And if I just look at this, this is all the same setup. So no problems there. Now I want to get into my new plan, my new version, and pull a camera view and just take a look, see what's happening, see how it's looking, see if it looks correct. Missing some material, that's okay. The terrain does in fact look correct. If you didn't notice, this is exactly the plan from my layout, right? I rendered this out to be beautiful in that layout template currently. This is an addition. Not worried about the kitchen. This is an existing kitchen. Obviously, I pulled this through a template at some other time, and it picked up new defaults, right? That's why it looks so goofy. So that's that problem we're talking about. Take a roll downstairs. This is a big addition where it's dirt underfloor that's going to be addition space now with a little kitchenette, little living area, a little dining area. Need to do some additional schematic design, then it's going to design development. Clearly not going to have end pairs there. Squeeze in a little bedroom in here and work some magic to get egress, hopefully. See, we got some little discrepancy with the staircase there that needs to get fixed, probably split and moved. Laundry, a bath back here. storage area, and then garage. And this is just for the family, little gym here. So this all looks correct, which is good news. Got something funny here. This is, again, it following default surfaces. So that's why this is showing up like that. And that's just part of a step foundation with a retaining wall. That's going to be new. Everything else looks about right. Step foundation issue there again. Not too big of a deal. And then I would probably check my elevations to make sure that's all done. And then the last thing, keep in mind, I deleted all my cameras because my annotations were not done in those cameras. So if you have annotations done in those cameras, you're going to want to keep the old cameras, not the new, and maybe conform, or maybe you go in and copy all the elements then there and paste hole into the new cameras, something like that. So those are a few things to keep in mind. And then the rest of this is just a little bit of cleanup, I think. I'm going to not save my old plan. Take a look at this regular floor plan print sets. This is funny. This is in my defaults. I should have these turned off. These are, so that shouldn't be turned on. I'm going to go fix that now. I might update a macro to show ceiling height and a staircase differently, or just delete that. I don't need that there anyways. All to workout room. Specified can get rid of, or call it unconditional space. A lot of times I'll come in here and just redo the dimensions. They're so easy to redo. A lot of times I'll do that, but it looks like these are okay. Actually, this doesn't look good. So, up to you if you want to select all your exterior dimensions versus interior dimensions. If my interior dimensions are done already, I probably don't want to touch them, right? Like them the way they are. I like taking my time with interior dimensions. I don't want to take my time right now. Probably an easy way to select those with intersected mode. That wasn't too bad. Redo it. Auto. Okay. Probably like it. I think that's it. I think we've got a successful transfer, which is, you know, pat yourself on the back. That's a good job. And then we get to take advantage of some of the new things. So we're going to put a chapter marker here, and I'm going to go over some new Pro Plan stuff that got released today. Why not? So the rest of the people can see this too. If they don't have the Pro Plan, go buy this thing. It's worth it. Trust me. Just listen to me, dang it. Listen to me. Okay, I want to make sure I'm going to save as, and then I'll do a review in another. Oh, and if you're in the Pro layout, make sure to utilize the naming convention -n so that you're getting that proposed versus existing annotations in box labels in the Pro layout. So 230821, yep, that's the one. Then maybe I need to go in and do that whole style palette thing to clean up things. I'm going to shut this down now. And cool, let's take a look at what's new in what was pushed out today. Now, I call this a silent release because I have not gone through and made sure everything is working perfectly. Usually when I put it on update, I spend a number of hours making sure everything's working absolutely perfectly. I didn't do that. That's why I call this a silent update. So use at your own peril. But now that you know how to transfer things, that shouldn't be a problem anyways. So let's take a look at what we've got in the changelog. We have added new finish macro for easy annotation of backsplashes and walls. Okay, so if we open this up and we get into, say, this camera view and we want to put a backsplash on the wall, what's going to happen? Well, we've got a label now. Cool. White subway tile. Bam. And what this is doing is it's taking the material that's applied there. It's looking for anything like rabs hyphen, rab hyphen, anything like that, and omitting that section and then adding the part after it. So This is the case in point, Rab's white subway tile. What it reports as is white subway tile. And maybe that's a really, really simple way of annotating. And you can always move the label like so, and then draw in a cat arrow if you want to kind of point this over, right? Cool, that works well. Back to the changelog, what else do we got? Built new ceiling height macros. So if you designate something as like a powder room or closet where it's a truncated name, so that we've only got like, say we've only got, I don't know, 42-inch width something or other here, like a powder room. Let's just, there we go, powder. What it's going to do is it's going to add a ceiling height in this labeling convention versus this other room where maybe we're calling this L-I-L-I. See how this is different? Ceiling heights left to right, ceiling heights truncated here. So that's what we did in that change. Cool. I found an error in the cabinet label. There's a few just error fixes in here. Added a new check in the cabinet label for panel front dishwashers. And then I'm going to add new tools for panel front dishwashers in the kitchen tools. So, and then panel front fridge. So it knows to look for a few things to designate that as panel front stuff. Updated layers shown on the window overview, saved plan view. And basically I had a bunch of additional layers that were turned on for some reason, somehow, some way that shouldn't have been on. So that window overview, that's this window order overview, should look a little bit cleaner than it did before. See. Added additional stackable details. I did. I don't remember which ones they are. Let me see if I can just spot them real quick. This one, I believe, is new. Brace wall panel, existing eave. We added this new deck post one. That's part of a 3-part piece. So the deck post, and then it's got a pier like that. Oh, my head's probably in the way. Move it over here. So sonotube, pier, deck post, and then finally deck platform. So those 3 stack up. That works really well. And then we did some intermediate thickened slab at an intermediate bearing wall with floor in between detail. So that got added. There we go. And then I know that we added a couple more. Added these deck details. I added this fill pattern beta, which we'll take a look at shortly. And then this is a user submitted one. Thank you, Brad. You gave this one to me and I conformed it, added a couple things, added that macro switching for the bottom plate and for the joists. So that's nice. Thank you very much. That makes a huge difference. That is the first user submitted using my conventions. Made it very easy for me to conform just a couple of little things and get it back to you guys. So that's awesome. Thank you, Michael Morris. You gave me a detail library. In that detail library was this foundation stepped typical, and I did a live stream on conforming this. It was a big pain in the butt, but I think that is a beautiful detail. So thank you. Appreciate that. So that's in there now. What else do we have? Let's see. A couple other little patch fixes. Added arrows to the kitchen elevation. Yeah, added arrows to the kitchen elevation so you can just kind of understand what's going on here, so you can copy paste these as you need to. Since they don't show up in any print sets anyways, you can copy paste this and utilize all the settings that are in those particular cameras. So, and then keep in mind, one of these is always linked to this rose, this compass, if you will. And so when you send one of those to your layout, this will populate what page that's on. Okay, and it's just one. So I'm assuming you're going to get all 4 views from that particular grouping to layout, so that if you need to make a copy of this, right, we're going to copy it, bring it over. You need to make sure that we are linked accordingly. So if you click on all these, excuse me, if you click on this middle one, it should be that we see relink view. It is in fact linked to Plan North 1. You would link it to Plan North 1. Excuse me, Plan North 1 you would link it to, and change the name of that to be whatever you are going to utilize that for, okay? So little tips in there. See the change log. Let's add a designation for framing in project macro designations. Ah, that is true. So back in our details here, project macro designations, I did a big shift and I moved a large section down here, and you're going to see here we added some additional settings in here. Okay, so one is for bottom plate, one is for sill plate, some additional framing designations, additional anchor bolt designations. Something to note that's very, very cool now is that we do not, in fact, need to link these leaders. We can just hover over the node itself and it will pick it up. So that's awesome, awesome, awesome. I added some additional designations over here, and then some of this stuff is using that new macro-based fill designation to incorporate into the overall system. If you didn't check that video, let's just go ahead and take the time now and open this up. So the fill pattern beta, now in the install directory in step 2, is a new library, and the library is all my fill patterns. And so we're going to be updating this again, but for the meantime, this will get you 90% of the way there of being able to draw detail in my style and not have to deal with writing all the macros in. The macros will be automatic. So show you what I mean. When we draw this leader out, hover over this top piece, that knows that that's the gravel in this case. Let's just hover over the next one. That's our exterior post or column. Okay. This next one down is going to be your rebar in your foundation. Next one down is going to be anchor bolt number 2. Next one down is that crushed rock again. Oh, it looks like I've got a duplicate here. Next one down is anchor bolt number 1. Here's our exterior surface. Here's our framing. There's our interior surface. Here's our sheathing. This is going to be your header, or if this is shrunken down less than 6 inches, then it's going to be your bottom plate. Okay. Moving down, this is going to be our line weights designate this. So line weight 34, 33, 32. This is going to be your wall insulation versus your ceiling insulation versus your floor insulation. And then finally, your sill plate. So very simple to just use these fills, create your detail in my style. Use these fills, bam. Use this text box, duplicate it 1 billion times, point it to the right thing. When you finally have that detail built, go ahead and send it to me, and I will make sure that it works and then bring it into the plan template. Cool. Now you never have to import that again. It will just be in your plan template. So hopefully get some user involved input here, and we make some more details as a community. And before you know it, we got a ton of details and we never have to draft anymore. Great. Would be wonderful. Okay, let's take a look at next in our change log. Let's see. Oh, we kind of went over this, but I put a bunch of prefixes in the custom fields, and I deleted a bunch of custom fields that weren't being used. So it should be a lot easier to navigate custom fields and then also add your own custom fields to make your own custom schedules. So something to keep in mind. Here's those new details. Custom fields. I purged unused CAD blocks. I managed to locate 2 layers that were never supposed to be in custom layers, and I managed to delete those. There is still 1 layer left. If you find it, I'm going to give you a prize. The layer is called Find and Delete. I can't find it. Don't know where it lives. Can't tell you. It might be inside of a CAD block, inside of a CAD block, inside of a CAD block. I have no idea. Can't find it. So maybe a challenge for you. If you run into it, let me know, please. I changed the roof framing plan to show the roof planes as a solid line with a thicker line weight. I don't know why it was a dashed line before. Obviously, there's some line of thinking there. I don't think I like that, so I switched it to a solid line that had a thicker line weight. And then that's it. Cool. So a lot to go over in this video, and thank you again, VIP, as always, and we'll see you for the next one.